Fort Worth, Texas, 2010. A domestic dispute ends with a fatal hammer blow. The victim is 24-year-old LaMarcus Bell. His killer, 42-year-old Tyra Whitney. The pair has only one thing in common. They both love 20-year-old Tashyra, Tyra's daughter. She asked her mother for help and ended up with her boyfriend murdered, and her mom locked away for 15 years. How did a mother's love go so horribly wrong? Was it an accident or a brutal slaying at the hands of a cold-hearted killer? In the Murray unit in Central Texas, Tyra speaks for the first time. I'm Candice DeLong. As an FBI agent, I worked on the front line for the world's most powerful law enforcement agency. I went undercover, I trailed terrorists, and I interviewed notorious killers. It's my job to understand the people who others cannot comprehend. Most mothers would do anything for their daughters. But how many of us would kill? That's what Tyra does. When her daughter calls for help the morning of October 11th, 2010. Months earlier, Tashyra moved into her own apartment in Fort Worth. Her 24-year-old boyfriend, LaMarcus Bell, moved in too. Tyra doesn't approve, but bites her tongue. Until she hears LaMarcus is assaulting her daughter. After one fight, Tashyra calls her mom for help. Baby! Tyra drives over to her daughters and confronts LaMarcus head-on. Within a few hours, he's dead, thanks to a cup of bleach and a hammer. This is not how family disputes should be settled. A jury agrees, and they find Tyra guilty of murder and send her to prison for 15 years. What kind of mother kills her daughter's boyfriend with a hammer? Tyra, you know the name of the show is Facing Evil.
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of evil have you faced in your life?
Wow. Miss Candice, I mean, if I take the time to go through it, it'd be a lot. I mean, I'm originally from New Orleans, Louisiana, so I've been through Katrina. That was evil itself.
It was.
I was raised by my grandmother. Wasn't really any evil in there, but I had to do a lot of stuff without parents.
Why didn't you have your parents raising you?
Basically, my mom abandoned me. My dad, he was out of state, and my grandmother raised me.
Sadly, too many children grow up without full-time parents these days. But most don't turn out to be violent offenders. The best indicator, in my experience, is when a person turns to violence early in their life. Tyra was 20.
Went out to a club with a couple of friends or what have you, drinking too much, and it started into a brawl argument or what have you, and then a fist fight.
Oh, that'll do it.
I was arrested for, it was disturbing the peace. Yes, ma'am, disturbing the peace.
Any other arrests?
Yeah, like petty theft, stuff like that.
By age 23, Tyra has had an aggravated battery charge, a husband, and a daughter. And during her marriage, according to Tyra, there is more violence to come.
I was with Tashyra's dad for 14 years. The last 5 got to be mentally and physically abusive.
Hitting you?
Hitting.
What about Tashyra? Did he hit her as well?
No, actually, that was the funny thing about that. You know, He was more of a protector with Tashyra.
Tyra says she stayed with her husband for her daughter's sake.
I stayed in basically because I wanted Tashyra to be with both parents, because I didn't have it. So you pretty well with me. I pretty much put up with a lot.
Did you ever call the police or tell anyone?
Many times.
And what happened?
Yeah, most of the time when the police came out, it was to the point where the officers was like, if we come out to this address again, we're taking both of you.
It seems violence is a part of daily life in Tyra's household.
One time, Miss Candice, he fought me and I landed on top of my daughter. And she was screaming. I'm yelling, you know, I'm on my baby. Basically, I'm not caring that you're hitting me. I just want to get off of my child. So you didn't care at that point. But afterwards, you was sorry and, you know, all this kind of stuff. And I just built up and it was like I left and I never came back.
This will not be the last time Tyra feels she has to protect her daughter. Fort Worth, Texas, 2010. Young couple Tashyra and LaMarcus move in together with grand hopes for the future. But within a year, LaMarcus will be brutally murdered with a hammer by his girlfriend's mother, Tyra Whitney. What on earth went wrong? According to Tyra, her daughter started acting strangely after her boyfriend moved in with her.
After a while, Tashyra started to be like standoffish. We're close, we do a lot of stuff together. She stopped coming by, or if she come by, she would only stay like 5 or 10 minutes.
What did that feel like for you, that your daughter was pulling away?
I didn't know what to really think about it at first. You know, I said maybe she's like coming into that stage where you want to be independent.
Of course. Independence turns out not to be the problem. According to one of Tashyra's friends,
she said, that boy is beating Tashyra. So I'm like, he's beating Tashyra. She's like, she said, Miss Tyra, she said, don't say anything, but I didn't want her to feel like I was betraying her because, like I said, most of their friends would come to me and talk to me when they wouldn't talk to their parents, and I'm quite sure, you know, mine have done that too, because sometimes kids don't feel like they can tell their parents.
It's news no parent ever wants to hear, and in Tyra's case, sadly familiar.
I can remember, like, my action. I stayed away from my family. I remember I never wanted to go around them with looking a certain way, or it was like she'll know something, you know, just a mother's, like, instinct.
Soon, Tyra sees the evidence herself.
One time, she had, you know, the little glasses or what have you on, and I'm looking. But I'm not letting her know that I'm checking out to see if anything is wrong. So I'm like, Tashyra, I said, are you okay? Mama, what are you talking about? I said, I heard that this boy is beating you. And she's like, Mama, where do you get that from? I said, well, I just want to tell you this. You don't have to be afraid of him.
Finally, Tashyra comes clean. Tyra, well, she becomes angry Mama Bear. 2 p.m., October 11th, 2010.
Not kicking me out of this house. I'm telling you.
Tashyra and LaMarcus are arguing again.
Hey!
He throws a DVD player at her, then runs away. Scared and shaken, Tashyra calls her mom.
Mama? Mama?
She's like, Mama, help. So my baby's screaming. She's screaming, I'm shaking. I'm shaking. I said, dial 911, I'm on my way.
Tyra jumps in her car and goes to her daughter's aid. Tashyra has also called the police. They arrive first. Being hit with a object's pretty serious.
The police came and initially took her to the hospital.
Okay.
They made her go to the hospital. And she had to write whatever statement or whatever. But the thing about it is, Tashyra would call the police, Miss Candice, but she would never press charges.
The police chase LaMarcus, but don't catch him. Tashyra says she does not want to press charges, so the police leave. Fort Worth, Texas. Tyra Whitney says her 20-year-old daughter, Tashyra, suffers abuse from her live-in boyfriend, LaMarcus Bell. Tyra comes to her daughter's aid. So you get up to the front door.
Yes, ma'am.
And what happened?
Okay, when you open the front door, it's steps leading to her living room. They have blood on the wall. They have broken glass from picture frames. I'm saying Muffin, because that's what I call him. Where are you?
Muffin, baby!
So she comes and she has a broom in her hand. She's trying to clean up before I get there or what have you. So I'm telling her, I said, is this how you really want to live?
She soon finds out that LaMarcus has returned to the apartment.
I was talking about him, but I'm talking to my daughter. I didn't even know he was there. So when he comes out the room, he's pretty much like taking off his shirt. When you fussing with somebody and you take off your shirt, Miss Candice, you want a physical altercation.
Really? So that was a signal to you.
Yeah, that was a
His
signal
taking his
to
shirt
me.
off was a signal to you there was going to be a fight between.
Yeah, it was gonna be a fight.
Was LaMarcus looking for a confrontation? Police say he was just trying to pack up his belongings. Tyra disagrees. And do you recall what was going through your head?
Yeah, I'm scared to death, but at the same time, I'm about to protect myself at all costs. So I'm about to pick up anything, and I'm looking around. Anything that's around, I'm about to use it. So she had these chemicals that was on the counter. She has this cup that's filled with something. I don't know what was in the cup at the time, but I knew something was in it. And when he came at me, I threw it in his face. Ah! But some of it went into Tashyra's face also.
Was she screaming? I mean,
She's
bleach in one's eyes, pretty serious stuff.
Yeah, she's screaming, but I didn't realize that
LaMarcus is down, but he's not out.
he was raising up. So I'm thinking he's about to do me something. So I grabbed for the first thing that I saw, which was this hammer, because they had a blue toolbox that was right there in the middle of the floor. And I hit him, Miss Candice.
With one blow to the head, he suffers severe head trauma. Hard, medium, soft?
Well, at the time, let me tell you something. I wasn't even thinking about the impact of the lick or whatever. All I know is I don't want you getting up, hurting me.
How many times did you hit him?
I can remember one time.
One.
Yes,
One
ma'am.
good hit. And then what?
I said, dial 911, let's go. That's what I told him. Let's go.
Neighbors hear the commotion and come to help. 911 recordings capture the chaos.
Are you with him right now? Yeah, he right here. He unconscious. Okay. Is his breathing completely normal? Oh my God. He just needs some help right now.
I'm speaking with convicted killer Tyra Whitney. She has just admitted hitting 24-year-old LaMarcus Bell over the head with a hammer. She says she was defending her daughter and herself. LaMarcus dies in the hospital the next day. How did you feel when you found out that LaMarcus had passed away?
For a while there, I thought this was like some kind of bad dream I was about to wake up from.
Did you want him dead when you hit him with that hammer?
No, ma'am. When I initially picked up what I picked up, and mind you, Miss Candice, it could have been anything. I guess if it was a bat that was laying there, that's probably what I would have picked up too. Anything that was in range that I felt would have kept him, warded him off, that's what I was aiming for.
How do you feel now?
I'm hurt.
What hurts you?
I'm like, because, you know, the more I think about it, he was somebody else's child too, you know? But in the same instance, Miss Candice, what about my child? What about me? You know what I'm saying? But I often, like, tarry with that because I don't want to sound like this somebody's life and it was just, you know, it just was that. I don't want to just constantly justify, you know, the action that was wrong, but the intent wasn't. I didn't want somebody dead, basically. But when it comes down to it, my child could have been dead. I could have been dead, you know? It could have been my child's casket I was looking over.
At the center of all of this is Tashyra. I'm sure she must carry a sense of guilt herself.
And some people even told her that. I mean, family members tell my baby that it's her fault that I'm here. And I let her know it's not her fault that she was here. Who else was she supposed to call, Miss Candice, after you dialed 911? Who else?
And that raises an interesting question for me. Tashyra often called the police when things got out of control, but never pressed charges. So the police were powerless to stop the abuse. And that frustrates Tyra to this day.
I'm like, I don't know what's fair. What I think is unfair is that there are no domestic violence laws. I feel like it wasn't investigated enough. I mean, facts are there. How many 911 calls do you need? Had you arrested him, he may be alive. Had you arrested him, maybe he wouldn't have went back to my daughter's house.
This is a tragic story. Tyra has some advice for others in similar situations. If you could give them one piece of advice from your experiences, what would it be?
Whoa, it would be, babies, don't stay. You know, I mean, don't feel like you're too grown to ask for help. When it first starts, stop it. Because 9 times out of 10, it's gonna continue.
So you're saying leave?
Leave.
Sadly, Tashyra learned this lesson the hard way. I want you to imagine that I'm Tashyra.
Yeah.
What would you like to say to me?
Well, Tashyra, I know in your own mind, you know, you loved him because of whatever reason, you loved him. I want you to understand that I love you so much. I don't regret coming to when you call for my help.
Okay.
I'm your mom.
None of us can say for sure what we would do if confronted with the same situation. But it seems to me that murder was not Tyra's intention. It was self-defense with the first things at hand. It was not a sustained attack. Just one blow changed 3 lives forever. You think the legal system failed your daughter?
Yeah, I do.
You think the legal system failed you?
Yeah, I do. And I think the legal system failed him also.
A jury finds Tyra guilty of murder and she receives 15 years. I want you to imagine for a moment that I'm Lamarcus.
Yes, ma'am.
What would you like to say to me?
Wow. Wow. Man, do you forgive me, Jesus? I never wanted to kill you. I just didn't want you to hurt my baby. I didn't want you to hurt me, but if you listen, I told you, I said, if you hit my baby again, I told him I would hurt him. I didn't tell him I was gonna kill him, but I was gonna hurt him. And I meant that, Miss Candice. I meant that. But wow, dead Miss Candice, no. Most of all, I'm asking for forgiveness from him. You know, Miss Candice? And I'm not sorry because I want people to feel sorry for me. I just wish I could tell him. I wish it was just, I really wish he would have gotten arrested.
What do you regret?
That this boy is dead.
I've seen way too much domestic abuse end in murder. Tyra is clearly very sorry for what happened. It is a mother's instinct to protect their own at whatever cost. Tyra may have indeed saved her daughter's life, but another life was lost.